Warning: this guide features early strats for the fight M6S. In particular, this guide will closely adhere to the Toxic Friend raid plan commonly used in Party Finder. Better strats can and will be found if they haven't already, so be mindful. Hi guys, and welcome to a Hector lecture guide to the fight M6S. This is Sugar Riot. For this fight, you're going to want to assign standard clock spots, light parties, and pair positions. We'll be using these pairs in corners and downtime, so you just need set positions. The fight begins with Muse Mural. This is a raid wad. Afterwards, we get Color Riot. This is a tank buster targeting the nearest and the furthest player from the boss. To resolve this, have one of your tanks stand directly underneath the boss, the other goes out, and the rest of the party stands just outside of the hitbox. The way this works is the tank underneath the boss is going to get hit by the color of the gun pointing up, and the tank away from the boss is going to get hit by the color of the gun pointing down. This leaves a debuff that will persist all the way through the fight, including through death, meaning that we'll have to pay more attention to who goes middle for the next tank buster. The boss will then cast Wing Mark, and when it finishes resolving, every player is going to get a 20-second wing debuff. When this expires, you're going to get flung in the direction that you're facing. Next is Color Clash, and the boss is going to load up either light parties or pairs. Look at how many times she fires her gun. If she fires it into the air twice, this means she's saving up light parties, but if she continues firing it 3, 4 times, this instead means pairs. The boss will then cast Devil Style, spawn a couple of different things onto the arena, and there's always one safe corner, but since this is complicated, I'm going to bring this to the chalkboard to break it down. Bombs just explode where they are. Winged bombs are going to jump before they explode. The succubus is going to shoot a giant AoE where they are. And the mortal shoots out a cleave, leaving sides of them safe. General rules for both the bomb and the succubus: far is safe, meaning you want to go towards them initially and aim your wing jump away from them. For the wing bomb and the mortal, near to them is safe, so you want to go away from them initially and aim your wing jump towards them. Let's quickly review a bunch of the possible patterns. 2 mortals, you want to go in between them, that's the safe spot. 2 succubi, you need to go away from both, so 1 would be the safe spot in this case. Mortal and a succubus, go away from the succubus, go towards the mortal, so 2. Bombs and a mortal, go away from the bombs, go towards the mortal, so 3. Winged bombs and a succubus, go towards the winged bombs, away from the succubus, so 2. These can show up on any cardinal, so you just need to learn the patterns and learn to figure out what the safe spot is. So here we have the boss casting Double Style and is spawning a mortal and a bomb. We need to go away from the bomb, but towards the mortal, so we're going to try to end up at the 3 corner, meaning we'll start at the 1 corner and face ourselves in the 3 direction. When the timer finishes, we get flung in that direction, and we immediately go into our pair positions in the safe corner. As soon as you get the magic vuln, melees are safe to gap close in, and it will still count as the damage being done correctly. If it was light parties stored instead, just do group 1 left, group 2 right in the safe spot. Melees can again gap close as soon as the magic vuln appears. Afterwards, go to your clock spots for Sticky Moose. This is going to target 2 random non-tanks with an attack, binding them, and giving them a debuff that means that in about 5 seconds time, they're hit with a 4-person stack. If this hits 1 person in group 1 and 1 person in group 2, simply slide onto your light parties. However, in situations like this where 2 players from the same light party get hit, you're going to the nearest player instead. For some players, this is obvious. For other players, you might not know which one's nearest because you're in between 2. In this case, always rotate clockwise. Afterwards, we get another Color Riot, and for this one, we now need to pay attention carefully to the colors of the guns. Because the blue gun is pointing up, the nearest tank is going to get hit with blue. That needs to be the main tank who currently has the red debuff. So main tank will go middle, off tank will go outside, and the party will again stack on the boss's butt. Afterwards, pull the boss north, as the boss will then jump north for Sugarscape. They'll paint a desert, and we start the desert phase. For the entirety of this phase, everyone will have the sun debuff, which gives them a damage over time for light damage. In addition, 1 DPS will start with a 43-second timer for a stack debuff, and 4 players are going to have this debuff, which is a giant defamation when the timer runs out. The players with short timer will always be a tank and a DPS, while both healers will be the long timer player. The boss will start to cast Lair, and we're going to start getting cacti spawning. Pull the boss between middle and west, and wait for the cacti to grow. Now, for the most part, this is just dodge. However, I will let you know that there are only 4 separate patterns of how the cacti can appear. Over time, as you practice, try to get familiar with the different patterns, memorize them, find a spot that always works for how you're going to dodge those particular patterns, and use that to get better at dodging them. After all of the cacti have finished exploding, you'll notice that our defamation timers and our stack timer are getting very short. After the final set of cacti explode, send the tank with defamation northwest, the DPS southwest, and have the party stack middle. Afterwards, go in mid for clock spots for another sticky moose. And then the boss will cast Lair, and we get quicksand. Before we commit to safe spots, be aware that the healer's defamations are getting pretty close to going off. We're going to resolve them by having the healers go to separate safe spots. Wait for cacti to start spawning. One of the corners is going to have a cactus directly in it. In this case, it's the 1 corner. The party is going to go opposite that corner. H1 will go clockwise from it, and H2 will go counterclockwise. Be aware that the cacti do kind of leak into your safe spots, so you may still need to dodge ground AoEs. Pudding Graph will move the quicksand so we can all go middle, and we want to spread out from west to east, true north style. This is because the boss will cast Devil Style, and tether players to either a bomb or winged bomb. One roll is all getting bombs, one roll is all getting winged bombs. We want all of these bombs to go into the quicksand. To deal with this, look at the color of your tether. It's the easiest way to spot what you're tethered to. The dark blue tethers are tethered to the normal bomb. They're going to walk into the quicksand. The other players are simply going to face the quicksand. Make sure you're spread out during this so you don't clip each other with the spread AoEs. The bombs will land, and hopefully you'll send all of them in. Immediately, any players in the quicksand need to move out of it so they don't get sunk in, as the quicksand will start to sink almost immediately. A Muse Mural Raid Wide will transition the stage back to normal. You now get another color Riot Tank Buster. Remember to look at your debuffs. And the boss will cast Soul Sugar. We'll see some slime start to spawn, and after a cast of Live Painting, this is Ad Phase. This is one of the most chaotic phases that has ever been in a Savage fight, at least in my experience, so we're going to bring this to the chalkboard to try to break it down. Muse are going to do auto attack damage to whoever is aggroed them. The auto attack damage isn't too heavy, however, when you've got 4 of them and the boss all attacking you, it adds up. These will eventually cast an Enrage if you will leave them live long enough, but it takes a while, so they tend to be quite low priority to kill. Then there's the Yan. These do much spicier auto attacks. They don't have an Enrage, however, if they ever get too near to a Mew, they will get buffed and those auto attacks will become lethal. Rule of thumb, always keep these guys separate. The Gimme Cat is going to steal your LB whenever it spawns. It jumps around, but then its final jump in a set is always going to be targeted towards a player to try to drop a telegraphed AoE, so you can bait this jump near to wherever you want your players to kill it. The Gimme Cat also will Enrage, and it enrages quicker than Muse, so it's higher priority than them. Then there's the Feather Rays. These are going to tether to the first player to attack them, which we normally want to be ranged DPS. These are going to spit puddles at those players about every 10 seconds. These puddles will hit for light damage on hits, but they also give an 8-second Vuln. On the ranged DPS, not a problem. But if you accidentally clip a tank with when one of the puddles lands, they're almost certainly going to get murdered by auto attacks. The puddles will persist for the entire phase, and anybody who walks through it gets damage over time. Then there's the Jabberwock. The Jabberwock is going to pick a random healer, target them, shortly afterwards bind them, and slowly move towards them. You can stop this assault by stunning the Jabberwock, and you should always do the tank first, the melee second to maximize your stun time. The Jabberwock will continue moving towards, and if it ever reaches your healer, instantly kill them. We want to kill this guy fast. So now let's go over each of the phase. Before we begin anything, since you're going to get your LB stolen anyways, you can try to time an LB2 from either caster or fizz range to hit the ads, but the timing's quite tight. Give it a try, see if you can work it out, because it's a nice gain if you can get it. For wave 1, 2 Muse, 1 Yan, 1 Cat. Main tank starts in the east to grab the Muse, off tank starts in the west, and we want to immediately pull them separate. So off tank pulls them west, main tank pulls them down to southeast. For this part, we're going to have the melees focus on killing this Yan, while the range are going to target the Cat that's going to be jumping around. Eventually, the Cat is going to jump on a player and stop. Just make sure you walk out of this telegraphed AoE, as otherwise it gives you a damage down and lowers your max health. You don't want that. Continue focusing the Yan and the Cat for the entirety of this first phase. The boss will cast Live Painting again and summon the second wave of ads. Right about this time, the ranged players need to go off to the corners. The raid plan is the caster northwest and the Fizzle range northeast. This second wave will consist of 2 Mews, always spawning in the south, and 2 Feather Rays, always in the north corners. About the time these spawn in, you hopefully want to be nearly done with killing the Yan and the cat, so you can focus on the second wave. Regardless, off-tank was going to go towards the northwest Manta, pulling their Yan with them if it's still alive, and main tank's going to pull all of the zoo over towards the northeast Manta. We want to kill the northwest one first, and the northeast one second. Make sure your ranged DPS are the first ones to attack each of their respective Manta, so that they're the ones that get the tether and they're the ones that bait the puddles. With good DPS in your 2-minute burst, you might be able to kill the northwest Manta before it even drops a second puddle. The boss is going to cast Live Painting, and this is the cue that the main tank needs to get away from here, because that north slime is going to turn into a Yan, and it'll enrage immediately if the Mews are still near it. So main tank's going to pull their Mews south, and then over towards west. Everyone should continue to focus the Manta Ray down to make sure that it dies as quickly as possible. Hopefully in this time, if you've done enough cleave damage on the Mews, you might have 1 or 2 of them drop dead as well, which can be helpful. For wave 3, we get 1 Yan, 1 Cat, and 1 Jabberwock, always in these positions. The Jabberwock will be untargetable to start. We're going to have the off-tank north so they can grab the Yan. Everyone else is going to be targeting the Mews right now in the west, waiting for the Jabberwock to start. The random healer gets targeted. They go to their corner, they get bound, and the Jabberwock begins its march. Right about here, make sure that you stun it. This should be the tank stun, followed by the melee stun, and this whole time we're single target DPSing the Jabberwock because we need to kill it before it touches the healer. Hopefully you should get it to drop dead, and the healer will immediately become unbound. During this, the boss will cast Ready or Not, and will spray this gemstone here. This is a raid wide to heal and mitigate through. Shortly afterwards, the Mews are now going to be at the point where they will enrage, or Regato is their enrage cast. You can live 1, sort of. It hits really hard, it leaves a bleed. The ideal number of these to go off is 0, so focus down the Mews and make sure you're hitting them with as much cleave damage throughout the entirety of the start of this phase. After they're dead, focus on killing the Gimme Cat. We now get the last wave, and it's a doozy. For the final wave of ads, 2 Mews, 2 Feather Rays, 1 Cat, 1 Yan, and another Jabberwock. We immediately have the main tank pull all of their Mews that they've now got over towards the southeast corner. Off-tank has aggro on both Yans, lots of spicy autos, so be careful. They're going to pull them down towards the 4 corner. And finally, this means main tank can pull all of their zoo up towards the Jabberwock. Ranged DPS need to make sure they're the first player to target and attack the Manta Ray when it spawns so that they get their tethers. A healer will get targeted, they need to go to the corner again to keep maximum distance between them and the Jabberwock, and they'll get bound like before. From here, it's all about kill priority. Focus down the Jabberwock with single target damage, then kill the Manta Ray in the east, then the cat before it enrages, then the Manta Ray in the west, and then leave the Mews and the Ends till later. Soon as the Jabberwock becomes targetable, make sure that you're damaging it and stun it before it gets too far, and then stun it again with the melee stun. Focus the Jabberwock down to kill it. This unbinds the healers so they can immediately get out of the way of the puddles that are dropping. Now that the Jabberwock's dead, off-tank wants to pull their Yans down into the southern corner in preparation for the Mews potentially moving closer. We're going to kill the Manta Ray, and after the Manta Ray is dead, look for where the cat has landed, kill the cat before it enrages, and go over and kill the other Manta Ray. Make sure that the main tank does not pull the Mews too close, as we don't want the Yans to accidentally get buffed. Kill the Manta Ray. And now have everybody focus target the Mews, which are hopefully low from cleave damage. There's another Ready or Not raid wide. Kill the Mews. And now the Yans can be pulled middle. You might have main tank provoke one of them to lessen the burden of the auto attacks on the off tank at this point. Single style will spawn some arrows. Dodge the arrows while killing down the Yans. And right about now, hopefully, you'll have enough TPS to finish off the Yans, and you've finished ad phase. You're rewarded with a limit break 3 for your troubles. There's a color Riot tank buster. Be aware that this may still be going on during the ad phase if you haven't finished the Yans off. Afterwards, there's a Muspro raid wide. If you didn't kill the ads quickly enough, the boss will be buffed and this will serve as an enrage. Afterwards, pull the boss north. The boss will jump north for Sugarscape, and we begin bridge phase. Pull the boss over here, sort of in the northwest, and prepare for Devil Style. This will always be arrows paired with either thunder spreads or fire stacks. For thunder spreads, we all find a safe spot to be able to go from the arrows, and we spread, making sure none of us are in water, as then the thunder spreads will kill us. If it was fire stacks instead, we're instead going to stack, but we're going to stack in the water so that the stacks will not kill us. Group 1 supports and melees are middle. Group 2 supports and the ranged are going to hide behind one of the watery bridges in the south. The boss will cast Lair, and the water is going to become unsafe, so we get out of it. Stack together all in between the bridges in the northwest. From here, we're going to wait. When you see a flash of lightning on your screen, that means that a delayed AoE has just dropped on your location, and so you need to move. It's like a twister or stepped leader if you've done those fights. Whenever you're moving, make sure you're moving away from the giant storm cloud, which will explode shortly afterwards. There's the flash of lightning, so all players move. We're now going to get a bunch of random AoEs on the ground that will keep appearing and disappearing, as well as 2 players targeted with this symbol here. 1 support and 1 DPS always. The cloud will start to move, and we need to make sure that the majority of the party are stacked on the bridge opposite where the cloud's going to end up. The 2 players with the symbols are now going to go out. Facing the cloud, the support will always go clockwise or left, the DPS will always go counterclockwise or right. Make sure you go far away from the bridge, as when the symbol disappears, it drops a giant AoE. This AoE also will electrify the entirety of the platform you're on because the grass is now wet, so everyone else needs to make sure they're stood on the bridge. This then repeats with a new support and a new DPS targeted, and the cloud moving again. It can move back where it came from. Make sure everybody carefully goes in positions on the bridge. The marked players go out, support clockwise, DPS counterclockwise. And this will repeat for 4 total waves, with every player eventually getting targeted. Afterwards, stack on the final bridge you end up on for Pudding Party, which is a 5-hit multi-hit stack. Now we're going to start to position automatically onto set platforms. The melees will always go south, the ranged group 1 will always go northwest, and the ranged group 2 will always go northeast. Lair is going to cause the entirety of the water in the bridges to turn into lava, so now we can't get to the other platforms. The boss will cast Mew Strip, and we need to make sure that we've got our ranged DPS as the furthest player from the boss, as this is baiting stacks onto them as a bunch of towers appear. This will always be 4 towers in the south, 2 on each of the other platforms. Have your healer and range group up, and they're going to take these stacks, which drop puddles for 4 hits total. Make sure you don't bait any of these onto the towers, as they will persist during the towers. The boss is casting Musiker, and this is just cleaves on the nearest players. You'll see how the melees are currently spread. This is to make sure those cleaves don't go near any of the range players. After 4 total puddles, don't go in your tower, go near it. Wait for the crack of lightning, and now go into your tower. The puddles will quickly fade, and the boss will cast Wing Mark, and everybody's getting a 10-second wing debuff. We also get more towers. This can come in 2 different varieties. I'll first show the 4-2-2 variety. In this case, the towers are split 4-2-2 across the platforms. So what we're looking for is, where have the 4 towers gone? They always start in the south. Now they're in the northwest. So the tower pattern has essentially rotated clockwise, and thus all players will also rotate clockwise. We're going to use our wing debuffs to jump across the lava, and then soak towers over on those new platforms. Position yourself in the middle of the platform and properly aim for the widest, fattest section of the other platform, as these jumps are hard to predict the distance of. When your debuff timer runs out, you'll be flung in the direction that you're facing a set distance. Immediately position near to, but not into, a tower. Wait for the crack of lightning, and then go into your tower. If we instead had gotten Wing Mark and the towers that appeared looked like this, with all 8 of them in the south, everybody's instead going to go down to the south platform, and the players that are already in the south platform are going to go all the way to the east, and they're going to face towards the west so that they can fly over to the other side. Everybody lands. We position near to, but not into, a tower. Wait for the crack of lightning, and then move into your tower. Whichever pattern you get, when it finishes, the boss will cast a Moose Mural Raid Wide, and the stage transitions back. Immediately have main tank yank the boss as far middle as possible, as you're going to get a sticky moose, and you want to leave space for people to be able to go into clock spots. If the boss is still on the wall, you might have to YOLO this, just spread and then stack in groups of 4. There's a color Riot Tank Buster. And then from here on out, it's just repeated mechanics. It's the Wing Mark combo that you saw at the very beginning of the fight with either light parties or pairs, and then the AoEs to dodge. When you finish, the only thing different this time is you don't need your melees to gap close in, as the boss will follow you. Either pull the boss mid or wait for them to jump mid, and they'll cast Artistic Anarchy. And yeah, good luck. You have until the telegraphs appear to finish the boss off, because when they go off, it's game over. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed.